So, good morning to everybody who's awake this time in the morning. I'm up early. I'm getting ready to hit the gym. So, I decided that I'm going to do a quick stream because a lot of things is going on in news right now. We have the situation with the tariffs in China. We have news out that maybe the Obamas their marriage is on the brink. But I want to really have this conversation because I think a lot of men don't truly understand, single men, that is, don't understand what a blessing it is to be a bachelor, not a incel basement dwelling uh, guy who doesn't have any social skills or who doesn't understand people or who doesn't have good family around him. It's not sociable. I'm talking about to be a single bachelor in 2025 is a luxury and a blessing. And I tell you why. I know a lot of married guys. I've been a married guy. Um, I've cohabitated. I have successfully raised my boys. I've successfully raised my family. And I enjoy my peace, quiet, and freedom. I'm a 50-year-old guy. And people will have all these different conversations about they will spin a narrative like there's some misery going on in life. I'm always smiling. I'm always happy. I'm always at peace. I have a tremendous amount of choices in life. Like this morning, I decided to get up before I go to gym and do a live stream because there's nobody here that is going to prevent me from doing the things that I enjoy doing as a man. So, and there's tons of opportunity for company if I choose to have that company. And I always encourage men to position themselves in life where they have options. Options, leverage, options is what men need to position themselves in life in terms of, and also having purpose, hobbies, and all the freedom that comes with living a successful life, taking care of your health, taking care of your finances, taking care of your mental health, and whatever activity is. Salute my brother Rand. Peace and blessings to you, man. Welcome to the chat, man. Welcome to the chat. And the truth of the matter is, for today's modern men, nobody is going to take care of you like you. We live in a gynocentric environment, and it's corporate sponsored feminism, and it's really greed in many instances because they're programming women a certain way because women spend the majority of the money. They spend money. That's why when you're a bachelor, when you get out of relationships, when you have experience in relationships, when you have experience with marriage, when you have experience with cohabitating, when you have experience with women, understanding women, and then when you appreciate the single life, when you get back to being single again, it's amazing how your bank account expands. It's amazing when you start finding money. It's amazing when you sit down and you're like, whoa, this is pretty fly here. You have you're you know you're in the black every month in terms of your finances. Not that you weren't before, not that they're not successfully married people that are doing well financially, but today's dating and relationship market is a monetized dating and relationship market. It's a monetized dating relationship market globally. Globally, there's no solutions. There's only trade-offs. This is globally. Globally, there's a monetized dating and relationship market. Let's put it right out there. Living fight. There's no fantasy of it. This is what the internet, social media, and corporate sponsored feminism has created. Because the idea is to keep women spending. And if they can't spend enough money from themselves and their own strong and independent lives, where are they going to get it from? They're going to get it from a man, a husband, a boyfriend, or a sucker simp. One way or another, the cash flow must continue, uh, the spending must continue, and women themselves, as well as some of the men, are pawns in the game of keeping capitalism flowing and keeping spending going, keeping money flowing. So there's all kinds of different types of social programming. You see it on TikTok all day long. You see it on social media all day long, promoting this toxic positivity that we see in women. It's something that's created systematically to keep the spending going. It's more deeper than just on a dating and relationship scale. And smart men realized it, that disrupting and distracting relationships is more to do with keeping the spending going than it has to do with any type of women's empowerment or any of that stuff. Because if you destabilize or empower women a certain type of way, then that man is not able to control the spending. And if he's not able to control the spending, then that woman can spend money at will. She can take the credit cards and max them out because that guy has no control over that house. You see, he not control it. So when guys are finally understand that, instead of getting to these power dynamics of dating and relationship, you've got to understand the social programming. And once you get smart about it, man, and Brother John's really facts. Every day we are seeing that the return on investment in terms of financial, emotional, mental investment in most of the American women is negative. And it gets bad. It's bad. I mean, it's a monetized dating market. Let's be honest. It's monetized. It's designed that way. It happened. It was constructed that way. It was instructed. And I know people are going to come in and talk about the religious people. It ain't no different in the church. The church is all about money. It ain't no different in those situations in church. That's why you have all these women talking about the money. They've been programmed that way. And it is becoming a global thing because of social media. That's why TikTok is so powerful now. We know TikTok is owned by the Chinese Communist Party. We know who owns TikTok. There's no question about that. So they have a certain way of programming people. China exports a lot of goods around the world. So what are you going to do? You're going to program materialism constantly all day long. You program consumption and materialism. How does that work in terms of the guy? If you get caught in that wheel, you're going to be constantly putting out money, spending money. So a guy nowadays, the vision of him is not even as a human being. And there's no conversation about his character, who he is as an individual. There's a talk about his productivity. I mean, men are expected to produce, but now you're a disposable tampon. Now you're an ATM. And any man with any sense does not want to be a ATM or a disposable. When you can live life for yourself, find purpose, find hobbies, and have control over your life, control your resources, invest some time, energy, resources in yourself, and you want to donate and help society at your free will, at your choice, or whatever. I have my day free. I do what I want to do. If I wanted to help people, what's up, my brother Jamal, my brother Ren, Rogue, everybody's up early in the morning, my brothers. Salute to you all. You guys, make sure you hit the like button. You want to support the channel, please do. I appreciate you guys' support. We want to keep independent men's content going because the internet is the only place that really, if you can sift through some of the nonsense, you get Today I'm cooking for Jax. Let me turn this down. You get the information that comes straight to you, and they can't really control much of the source. But being single in 2025 is the luxury. It is a blessing. A lot of guys don't understand what a privilege it is. I understand. I appreciate it. That's why I'm up this morning doing what I want to do. Like I said, I come out, I do what I want to do. I get up this morning. My day works on my terms the way I like it. I don't have anybody that tells me, a peaceful life, you shouldn't do a live stream this morning because you got to be focused on me and what I want. I don't have it. I get up. I do what I want to do. I have very few distractions. And you don't really appreciate that until you've been a married guy or a guy in a relationship for long periods of time, where your life is solely focused on everybody else. Everybody else. Are their lives focused on you? And you know that saying, a man is never appreciated until he's gone? Well, that's true in life. But now we're dealing with other obstacles in life as men. And I see all these people with all these different podcasts talking about what losers and degenerates and incels these men are. And there are some men that have some issues and they need to do some self-development. I'm not talking about people being basement dwellers or not taking care of their health or walking around here with low self-esteem. I mean, obviously, there's been a movement for the past 60 years in America to really, really, really attack and destroy manhood and masculinity. And a lot of that is centered around keeping some money in women's hands so they can spend and support uh, the consumption community and corporate greed has been a huge part of that in destabilizing the nuclear family. And if your culture and community is not strong enough to withstand the programming of cultural, I mean, of capitalism, of basically of corporate greed, they're going to falter and they're going to fall to the programming. And in many cultures that are still holding on to their traditional values, then being able to fight off the programming that comes to corporations and what they want and how they want to design governments and corporations and how they want to keep funding going through destabilizing families and even destroying them to a certain extent. So that's why they promote so many things that are, the women's empowerment agenda, the feminist agenda. All these things are constructed to destabilize and keep the spending going. At the end of the day, the goal is the spending, and men are just the battery that fuels this economy, because transferring money from men to women is a strategy to keep the spending going, because you can't control, if he doesn't have power, he can't control anything and he can't shut them wallets down. So let's continue on. But we think this is just a American phenomenon, this situation with modern women and the ridiculousness that we see here in America. But it's more than just an American phenomenon. It's even globally happening, and guys need to be hip to the game of that. That is not just here in America, it's globally, you know. Um, where we at? So it's a global thing. And we see it even here where you see the guys are refusing to get into relationships. No, that one is too early. And they're kind of staying single for a longer period of time. And it's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on one second. I was looking for something. I have so many clips that saved in my computer. Is crazy, man, to think about it. Pretty much. I mean, TikTok is like, it's crazy, right? You know. Yeah, but I even heard like the Obamas is on the rocks. You know what I mean? It's crazy, right? It's crazy. You think about it. Like you'll see like a whole bunch of videos, like even here, like I'll give you an example. Like the singles events gets abandoned and shit. Like 1 second, where we go? Let me share screen. Salute to my brother over here, Charles in Charge. You see a singles event, nobody's showing up for this crap.
But let me say this, I completely understand now why those women popped those balloons as soon as those men entered the room. Only two black guys. One was 22 saying he wanted to travel the world. The other one was mad that I had a child out of wedlock.
There's this white guy on here, and he's running like a dating, like speed dating cornhole league. He's like, I can't even get men to sign up to this cornhole league where I can guarantee tons of single women. Like they're just, he's like, it can't, he's like, it should not be this hard. There's this white guy on here, and he's running like a dating, like speed dating cornhole league, and watching his journey to discovering that speed dating and dating events in general are such an unbelievable waste of time is insane. It's like the count is silly pickles. And I don't know if the events that this guy is doing was always targeted towards dating or not. But now he's doing like speed dating. And I've been seeing his journey, right, over the last like few months. And his absolute frustration with the fact that no matter what he does, he can't seem to get any single men. Like when the journey started, he was like, yeah, I have this like singles choral league where, you know, I have all the women have signed up already. Can't really get enough men to sign up, you know. So if you know any men, you know, single men, tag them below. And there's all these women in the comments saying like, yeah, it's not gonna happen, dog. And he's just like, no. He's like he started paying, like offering like a referral fee to like women who could get men to sign up. And when that didn't work, he like was pushing out like paid ads like crazy. Like he could not get dudes to sign up for this speech. And it's crazy because now he's just like, I understand the frustration of women in like your late 20s and your 30s and why you have like such just frustration dating, because he's like, I can't even get men to sign up to this cornhole league where I can guarantee tons of single women. Like they're just, he's like, it should not be this hard.
It should not be that hard, but it is. And at some point, you got to take a look at the root cause of the problem and really be honest about what's really going on here, because it hasn't always been this way. Let's be very clear. It has not always been a scenario where men have felt like they do not even want to bother with women. Matter of fact, this is only actually a new phenomenon, believe it or not. And so for women, they need to realize just how far they've fallen, where you have men who don't even want to bother with you anymore. I don't think women realize how far they've fallen from grace. In the past, men would literally do anything to be around a woman just to get her attention. Men would start singing groups and could hardly sing just to be able to get a woman's attention. They would have one good singer, two good singers, everybody else just sing, you know, deep voice baritone, just to cover the bases and doo-wop or whatever. Men would literally go to war, fight, scratch, claw, show up at a woman's doorstep, talk to the whole entire family, pursue her, take her out to events and things of that nature. Had not even got any cheeks yet. All with the idea of hoping that he could make this woman his. Show up at her window with a radio over his head playing music. Men used to do some of the most outlandishly wild things in order to grab a woman's attention. And it was normal for a very long time to see a guy put himself in maybe the most awkward, embarrassing positions, but he did it because of the way he felt about the woman. That can't be disputed. Men used to actually do that. And we've gone all the way from that to now in current present day. You can host an event where it's guaranteed not only will women be present, but there'll be food and games included. And men are literally saying, nah, you know what? Rather not. And you'll still have women saying, men are the one who are the problem. And listen, don't get me wrong. Do men have issues? Yeah. But there's a big difference between men having problems and men being the problem.
And everybody keeps in the comments saying, like, yeah,
That's
well,
crazy.
that's why we don't really do. A lot of women have kind of given up on singles events because every singles event that I have been to, okay, is, I want to say 80% women. I think the only time they are successful with getting like the equal number is, I think, like we met in real life where they like cap it off at a very specific number, you know? But even when you do get like enough men, I want to say this very nice. It's very like it does not work for everybody. I would say it's like, as a tall Black woman, when I go to dating events, I want to say there aren't that many tall guys there in general, right? And then not
so 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 again. Oh, man. They go into these dating events and they're going there with a tremendous amount of delusional standards. First of all, visions of grandeur in their mind about their own value as a woman. And that's propped up. I'll be honest with you. It's propped up by a tremendous amount of influence from social media. I mean, the women's positivity movement that has been going on for so long, boosting women's confidence and self esteem. You add all those factors in, and obviously there's a profit motive behind it, like I discussed earlier. But even at these events, they're not coming there from a humble perspective. They're coming there with a list of requirements of what they're looking for in men. And they're not even a reflection of the things they want in these men. So anybody signing up for this ridiculousness has lost their mind. But anyhow, we get the gist of this conversation that is a constant, no. And any smart and intelligent man knows that, hey, look, the juice ain't worth the squeeze in many instances, and it's better to adapt to the environment that we have in front of us. It's not going to change. It's a monetized dating market. It's never going to change in my lifetime or yours. Men need to accept reality. That doesn't mean you become some social isolated recluse or whatever else. You just understand what the game is out here in these streets. And you understand how to adapt, adjust, maneuver, get the things you want in life, and enjoy your life. There's no need to be stuck on this. But I wanted to go a little further because some people think that this is just an American phenomenon, right? But it really isn't. It's actually a global phenomenon. It's not just America. And that's why people make the mistake of thinking that it's America. And now that we're having these tariff and you know trade wars with China, China has tried to hide a lot of things within their own society. They've tried to hide a lot of things within their own society. But apparently, Western men have it terrible. But Chinese men, they've completely checked out. They got it rough. You talk about marriage and divorce in America being a problem, or in the West being a problem. These Chinese dudes is getting cooked. And I wanted to share with you something because divorce rate is high in China. So they don't think there's an escape anywhere. If you go travel and enjoy your peace. Let me give you an example of this. And I want to get into this video right here. So fair use.
China has the highest number of single women in the world. It also has one of the highest divorce rates globally. In most cases, divorces are initiated by women. Nowhere else do women look down on men as much as in China. Nowhere else do women demand such high bride prices. Nowhere else do so many women abandon their husbands and children. Nowhere else do so many divorced women seek welfare partners. And most of them don't succeed. What's the reason behind this, friends? There's only one reason. Chinese women have been consuming too much toxic positivity advice. They've been told that men should earn money while women should focus on looking beautiful. That men struggle to find wives, but women never have trouble finding husbands. This so called wisdom has left women dazed, confused, and disoriented. Completely lost and disoriented.
Fair use. I'm going to let this guy speak, but I have to do a reaction to the video. Again, TikTok has been the agent of all this toxic femininity and reprogramming that's going on. And it has caused destruction even in Eastern countries in the East, everywhere. So again, this guy is talking about it, but the reality is I'm trying to let you guys know that it's a global situation. It's not just the West, it's global.
This elderly man's remarks may be extreme, but real life cases do support some of his views. In January 2025, an online court trial video sparked widespread controversy across the Chinese internet.
As a father, you've never called your child, never cared about her life, never taken responsibility for their education. You haven't even made a single phone call in a year. You've deprived my child of a father's love. You've taken no responsibility for this family, not even a cent as a father. You've never cared about your child's life or education.
In the 7.5-minute courtroom video, nearly 7 minutes were filled with the plaintiff, Yan Dongping, voicing her accusations. To any observer, she appeared to
Stand by. Now you hear what she is describing this man as an absolute derelict and degenerate. And it goes with the narrative. She's gotten that script from somewhere, but the truth comes out later in the conversation. So right now, everybody's heart is like, oh my God, that guy was such a terrible human being. I see why he's divorced. She's divorcing him. But it gets deep. Let's continue on.
be a deeply wounded wife, an abandoned mother, while her husband was seemingly an irresponsible man. But a single statement from her husband, Sheng Zhubao, shattered the entire performance. I was working in Beijing. I gave you all my money without keeping a single cent for myself. Finally, the judge delivered the verdict. The couple's joint property, a car, is awarded to the plaintiff, Yan Dongping. At that moment, before the camera was turned off, Yan Dongping turned her head and smiled. A smile filled with an indescribable sense of sweetness and triumph. To many viewers, it felt as if she was looking at someone she truly loved. This scene deeply wounded her weary and honest husband, who quietly wiped away the tears at the corner of his eyes. This scene didn't just wound her husband, it struck a nerve with every viewer watching. And so, what people jokingly called the first world-famous painting of 2025, Yan Dongping's smile, was born, ultimately making her the target of online outrage. As the controversy grew, the truth began to surface. When the couple first went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to finalize their divorce, they were required to undergo a 1-month cooling-off period, a policy introduced under China's 2021 marriage law intended to promote marital stability. But in Miss Yan's case, that month became the perfect opportunity for her to execute a carefully planned strategy. Under the pretense of achieving financial independence through an online store, she escalated her demands, stripping the father of visitation rights and even insisting that their daughter change her surname, severing all ties between them. People quickly exposed the so-called financial independence as nothing more than a sham. Miss Yan's online store was merely a business license on paper, with little to no actual revenue. The family's middle-class lifestyle, owning a home and a car in a third or fourth-tier city, was entirely built on years of her husband's hard-earned wages from working in the big city. This divorce case ignited a firestorm online, striking at a painful reality in China's urbanization process. Millions of left-behind families follow the same survival model. Husbands working in distant cities while wives stay behind to raise children. In truth, this phenomenon stems from deeper systemic issues, including the household registration system.
So basically, this guy is off in Beijing, working his ass off. Obviously, there's certain rules in place where he can't have his wife and his family with him. Long hours every day, sending every dollar he has back home to support his wife and his family. And She gets in court and she tells a story of a derelict. Does that sound familiar? We see it all the time with custody hearings. We see it with divorce hearings here in America. So we understand that men are nowadays are making a logical evaluation of the current environment. Now and there take is logically it's risk mitigation. I know you see the Scott Galloways and all these other men online talking about what degenerates and losers men are, but men are very logical. They're acting very logical. The Chinese men are acting very logical. This is something that we don't get to see inside of China because they have the communist wall there. But their social structure, their family structure is eroding from the inside. And it's just that we're looking at world through blinders. Just like these tariff wars, China cannot maintain them. They'll fold in no time because their economy is already hit. Their social structure is hit. Their heavily manipulated society is hit under communism. So they're suffering internally. And that's because even in a sense they've taken on a lot of Western ideology has entered into their relationships and their families, and that's why the divorce rates are so high. So it's high in America, it's high in many countries. It started to creep up because of the influence of social media and this corporate sponsored toxic toxic feminism that is turned relationship more into to a monetized situation. So we have monetized dating and relationship that is creeping up globally, and a social media movement that is really talks about men basically as just really just walking wallets and how women can extract money from them because obviously it supports the business community and shopping. But China has it worse. So guys, if you think America is an issue, China is too. So let's move on.
And unequal distribution of educational resources. For many migrant workers in similar situations, the Yan case served as a wake-up call, highlighting the risks they too might one day face. The most troubling part is that the betrayer pays no price. In recent years, with the economic fallout from the pandemic, many men lost their jobs or suffered business failures. In almost every case, it was the women who quickly filed for divorce, often walking away with whatever little assets remained. For many men, marriage has reduced them to mere providers, financial tools discarded with no fair outcome. This has fueled growing anxiety among young men about marriage. Statistics show that over 40% of men born in the 90s and 2000s now express a fear of marriage. Cases like Yan's only deepen this fear, and she is far from an isolated example. People have responded with bitter laughter, saying that with a single smile, Yan has pushed China's record low marriage rate even lower. No one knows exactly who that smile was meant for, but one thing is clear. It has left many men terrified. Terrified of walking away from a marriage with nothing. Terrified that one day their own wives might flash a Yan-style smile. Scrolling through social media, it's easy to find boastful statements like, I can drive, I can earn money, I can cook, so why do I need a man? This certainly reflects women's independence. But the way it's framed is a classic example of toxic positivity rhetoric, one that exposes the distorted gender perceptions shaped by the CCP state system. While official media promotes gender equality on the surface, it simultaneously allows various independent social media platforms to spread extreme feminist narratives. This false notion of women's liberation is, in reality, a betrayal of genuine gender equality. Is finding a partner only about having someone who can cook, earn money, and drive? Relationships are built on emotional connection, mutual understanding, and growing together, things that shouldn't be overlooked. True independence should empower people to choose meaningful relationships rather than dismissing the value of companionship. Are material possessions like luxury homes and cars the ultimate measure of success? Placing too much emphasis on material wealth may reflect a mindset that prioritizes external achievements over deeper fulfillment in life. Most importantly, equating not needing a man with independence shifts away from the true meaning of gender equality and can even disrupt social harmony. This mindset is, in reality, extreme individualism and outright materialism disguised as progress. It can be seen as a toxic version of the independent woman ideal, one that has contributed to cases like Jan's. Another form of toxic positivity rhetoric is the princess syndrome narrative, often expressed as women should be beautiful and men should be the providers. This
So we're getting to, even in China, what do they consider the princess syndrome in America? The positivity movements. We see that, so they're repeating, copying, and see, somebody said it the other day, China doesn't make, it replicates. So they replicated American ideology. Again, princess syndrome. What do you see? The sprinkle, sprinkle lady. You see, men need to be spoiling me. Men need to be paying for my nails, hair, all of my whatever. Men supposed to take care of me. Even old women, old bags coming out here, like Lisa Ray talking about a man supposed to be spoiling and taking care of me. So this princess syndrome also spread globally. I'm not talking about all women. So women that are not a part of this understand, even women that are just even undesirable have princess syndrome. And you'll be like, whoa, what are you talking about? So when you see them online and they start regurgitating these talking points, the things that they get from people on TikTok or other social media influences, that's spreading this toxic positivity movement to women and what they deserve. Obviously, they are part of a systemic setup to get women to trying to extract so that they can go out and buy things to fund corporations and this and capitalism, really. So it's really systemically being programmed. People are being manipulated through social media and constant bombardment of all this, this what you deserve videos on TikTok and so forth. So China had this been done to them extreme at a high extreme. And that's why, again, and who owns the TikTok? CCP. So who makes a tremendous amount of products? China. So it's part of the manipulation process that goes on, and it's crazy to think.
This idea is misleadingly packaged as traditional virtue and widely promoted on social media. As a result, many single women possessively wait for a dominant CEO type partner to appear, quite popular in romanticized Chinese dramas.
Logically, there should be plenty of wealthy CEOs fighting over me. Look at me, I was born naturally beautiful and I just don't get it. Someone as pretty as me, why have I waited 36 years and not a single CEO has shown up?
Some once stable families have also been torn apart by these unrealistic fantasies of happiness. Miss Hu Pei is a typical case. Her husband earned 10,000 yuan a month, enough for a comfortable life, but she became consumed by online toxic positivity narratives. Women should be princesses, deserve the best cosmetics,
And you see that with the single moms here in America. And again, we have a panda bear community in America. A bunch of we have a panda bear community, a bunch of pandering men that are out here, women too. You got the sprinkle lady, you got all these other women pandering, telling women what they want to hear, creating a fantasy. Then you have the panda bear men, which is worse, the Derek Jacksons of the world, and on the black side, the ace metaphor, and other men all over the way telling women how special and wonderful they are and what they deserve. So it's like that in China, just on steroids. So all these women have created this fantasy. Somebody has convinced this woman, a married woman, that leaving her husband with kids, she's going to get out here and get herself a nice CEO. And that's why Kevin Samuels, RIP, was so critical, because that's why he got popular so quick, because he shined the mirror. He forced women to, shine the mirror to their face and face reality. And they hated him, because the only people that really, if they're listening to all these crazy toxic positivity movements online, and then one guy comes and tells them the truth, they're like, oh my God, it's like shining the light on a vampire or something. They can't handle it. It seems, It seems toxic itself to hear the truth. So let's continue on.
Designer bags and must have a handsome, wealthy CEO picking them up in a luxury car every day. She began to resent her current lifestyle.
I don't want to live in that rundown house anymore. I want to be like my friends, living in a nice apartment. I want to be stylish, sophisticated girl. I have high standards for myself, and I'm very picky.
With her husband, she became increasingly aggressive.
If the makeup I wear, the clothes on my back, and everything I eat and use don't come from you, then you're a complete failure as a man.
Even during mediation, her husband was still thinking about her well being. I sought mediation because I want you to have a good life. But she responded coldly, "You're not my parents. I don't need you worrying about my marriage." In the end, Zhang Liwei could only sigh in resignation and say, "Marriage is supposed to be about sharing responsibilities equally, right? But everything that should have been shared between us, I ended up shouldering it alone, and I spoiled her into having princess syndrome." This story ultimately ended in tragedy. When the wealthy CEO Jiang Dong appeared, Hu Peipei believed she had finally found the ideal life she had seen glorified online. Eager to escape what she saw as an ordinary marriage, she left without hesitation. But reality hit hard. Zhang Dong soon revealed his true colors, toying with her feelings before heartlessly abandoning her. Filled with regret, Hu Peipei returned to the home she once despised, hoping to reclaim her ordinary life. But by then, Zhang Liwei had already given up on her. Today, Chinese social media and self-media loudly promote female independence while simultaneously portraying marrying into wealth as life's ultimate success. Yet those who follow these narratives often find themselves facing harsh realities, as one veteran journalist bluntly exposed.
Some wealthy elites, some second-generation rich guys change girlfriends every month. Many even date multiple women at the same time. The more attractive ones might get to stay around for a few extra days, but don't even talk about women's rights in front of them. You won't even have basic human rights. Because when they've had their fun and tell you to leave, you have no choice but to go.
In a campus interview, a female student confidently said,
Dating doesn't come for free, right?
A sharp-witted respondent immediately pointed out the issue.
Why are you using the word free? Let me ask you, what kind of things in this world actually require payment? Products? What exactly are you considering yourself to be?
The most deceptive toxic positivity narrative is the one about life after divorce. A matchmaker in Shenzhen put it bluntly.
There's this toxic positivity myth spreading online. Divorced women are in high demand. Single mums from a second marriage are sought after. I've been a matchmaker for a long time and I can tell you the truth. In the real Shenzhen dating market, if you're divorced and have a son, no matter how beautiful you are, the moment men hear that, they don't even want to meet you. Why? Because men today aren't willing to raise someone else's child anymore, especially if it's a boy. Men nowadays aren't that naive.
Some independent social media platforms have even fabricated the myth of high-quality men's clubs to mislead their audience.
Divorced women can only marry high quality men. They should never settle for ordinary men because ordinary men care too much about whether you've been married before or if you've had children. Your past matters to them. But in our club, elite men earning 5 to 6 million yuan a year don't mind if a woman has been divorced.
Where did you hear that? Where did you hear that before? You heard that in America. Let's continue.
To them, marriage isn't just about having kids or physical attraction. Marriage is about fulfilling dreams.
In response, a commentator angrily refuted. How much did you drink to be talking this nonsense? There is no such club. Be sure you can treat yourself like a fool tossing coins into a wishing well, thinking you'll get whatever you want. And let me ask, are there actually any big shots here making 5 or 6 million a year? Step up and comment. Is what this person is saying even true? These toxic positivity narratives are seriously distorting society's views on love and marriage. Take the widely circulated 101 things a man should do for a woman as an example. It sets unrealistic standards for love, defining actions like buying late night snacks at 3 a.m. and traveling to various destinations as measures of devotion. As a result, many otherwise stable relationships have fallen apart simply because they couldn't meet these exaggerated expectations. Misleading ideas such as only foolish women wait for a man to mature and older men are better than struggling young men further warp young people's values. Why has toxic positivity become so widespread? A veteran journalist analyzed.
Everyone knows that toxic positivity is harmful, but many women just love listening to it. Let me break it down for you. First, toxic positivity usually contains a bit of truth. If it were complete nonsense, no one would listen. For example, it's true that women face challenges when they leave their family homes, they enter a new family, take care of their in laws, raise children, endure their husband's temper, and basically become servants, and so on and so on. When women hear this, they feel overwhelmed. They think, this is so true, and they immediately hit follow for that influencer. But in reality, these narratives exist just to attract more women. After all, who doesn't know that women are the biggest spenders?
According to the 2024 Social Media and Youth Values Survey report released by a sociology research institute, 76.3% of women aged 18 to 35 consume toxic positivity content daily. Among them, 45.2% admitted that such content influenced their expectations of love and marriage, while 28.7% acknowledged having unrealistic fantasies as a result. Statistics from the Civil Affairs Department showed that in the first quarter of 2024, the divorce rate among people under 30 increased by 15.6% year over year. Of these divorces, 42.3% were attributed to irreconcilable values.
A smart woman wouldn't use online standards to judge her own husband because she understands that he has his own struggles too. A good marriage takes effort from both partners. It's about working together. Listen to me. Don't be misled by toxic positivity. If you want a life, a good life, you have to build it step by step.
From a legal perspective, the most important factor in marriage is not material wealth, but character and sincerity. Shenzhen-based lawyer Chen Jianbin stated, I have never seen a marriage built on genuine mutual love end in divorce. As a lawyer, I am even more determined not to let calculations take over my marriage. I spend my days outside fighting battles, but when I come home, all I want is a hot meal and a moment to clear my mind. You cook, I chop vegetables. You scrub the pot, I wash the dishes. A simple life, leaning on each other. Isn't that true happiness? At the end of the day, the tragedy of Yan Dongping's case reflects the harsh realities of the CCP systemic design. If not for suppressed wages and the rigid household registration system, Shen Zhubao could have brought his wife and child to live together in Beijing, keeping the family united. But in reality, his salary wasn't enough to support a family of three in Beijing, and the Hukou household registration system prevented their child from attending school there. This forced separation ultimately led to the breakdown of their marriage. It is also important to recognize that the China under the rule of the Chinese Communist Party has turned a blind eye to two dominant forms of toxic positivity in the online discourse on love and marriage. One promotes female independence while denying the value of partnership between men and women, fueling social division. The other glorifies materialism, encouraging a mindset of entitlement and discouraging hard work. Yet the authorities have deliberately allowed these harmful narratives to spread unchecked. This is, in fact, a carefully designed social control strategy. By fostering individualism and eroding social trust, the government makes the population more fragmented and easier to manage. By fueling gender conflicts, it diverts attention away from deeper societal issues. The glorification of entitlement and materialism weakens the moral foundation and cohesion of society, making people more susceptible to being driven by material desires. A divided and disjointed society ultimately serves to reinforce the existing power structure. Moreover, on social media, these topics often spark heated debates, consuming vast amounts of public discourse. Meanwhile, critical discussions on livelihood issues and systemic reforms are drowned out. This tactic of burying real issues in noise is precisely what the authorities find most convenient.
So we see that the social issues. I wanted to let it play. It's really hard to really, like, I'm doing a reaction to the video and make commentary, because when you really get into the flow of the video, you want to just hear what they have to say. And I understand that from a viewer's perspective, but I have to react to the video. So, and John's right. I mean, the effects of feminism is global, and a lot of men are being just logical. I understand what people like Scott Galloway are trying to do and shaming men, because he's thinking of things from an economic perspective, but he only looks at men as batteries for the machine. But the question fundamentally is, what do men want and what do men value? Like, you see the shaming that comes through. I see so many videos, and obviously there's an exploitation element from the men's side as well. People selling pickup game, selling courses, selling all these different things to try and, you need to learn better game, you need to learn better this, you need to learn better that. But the truth of the matter is, if you're not that guy, you can game all you want. You probably be scraping at the bottom, because if you're not that dude that TikTok or all these social media platforms say you need to be, you may still get away with a little bit of indifference in terms of just being a man on your purpose, doing your own thing, and not even caring what these women think. You may be successful in that regard in terms of your own self-development. But where it's at now, the norm, the modern traditional idea that men have in their head of relationships, it's gone. It is the monetized dating market. Let's just say the word is prostitution. Not all women. You're dealing with unicorns. Every once in a while, a man would run across a unicorn. But outside of a unicorn, we're dealing with the monetized dating market. Prostitution, pretty much. The conversation is prostitution. Dating itself, we can make an argument, is prostitution. It's not courting. It is always an economic this conversation about dating relationships now. Nothing about character. Damn sure ain't nothing about what men want or what men value. And smart, intelligent men are realizing your freedom and your peace is valuable. And that doesn't mean you being a fat, lazy, basement dwelling, unproductive man. That means you being a successful, hardworking, purpose driven, smart, intelligent man that gets up every day and does things for your own life. If you want to give to the community, you do the community and do other things, yes. But I think once you understand a certain level of, once you experience a certain level of peace, and especially when you're working hard, you're making money, and you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor and do things for yourself. Like when I talk to guys and guys talk to me about relationships and whatever else, my first question, my first statement to them is this: what did you do for yourself today that added value to your life outside of women? Tell me about your own self-mastery, and then we can talk about women later. What is your medical looking like? Are you doing okay financially? How do you feel every day about yourself? Do you like you? Do you love you? Do you do things that are loving towards yourself? Are you taking care of your health? What does your A1C look like? How is your fitness level? Are you on any medications that you can get off of by practicing good health and eating good and taking good care of yourself? Are you getting up every day doing some form of self-development for yourself? So a conversation with me about women turns into a conversation about you as a man. and what you're doing for you and how you're making your life better as a man outside of women? Do you have a purpose or something that drives you every day to get up and want to do something? And those are things that I find more important. They may track women, but women cannot be the purpose in 2025 because relationships have a lot of distractions. This is not the relationships of old. This thing right here in our hand is a constant, we've been bombarded with 24 hours a day media, 24 hours a day connected with social media. You go back 30 years ago, there was a break in period. And many instances when we didn't have phones right by us and constantly being programmed and indoctrinated into things, there was a mental break from technology where we got to actually think. I can even remember a time when people just gave you the news and you made up your own mind about what the meaning of it is, as opposed to them telling you what to think. So we're in a heavily programmed environment. There's a tremendous amount of distractions and manipulation going on, and relationships sustaining themselves in this environment that's incredibly anti-man. Because when men in control, that reduces the spending. I mean, you even look at it in the church. Very few men hanging around in the church because men start asking the pastor question about his, Bentley out back and his private jet, and they don't want that conversation. So a certain type of, man they would have around there, but he's can't ask him questions. So a church loaded up with women is easy to, manipulate and get that money out of them from that regard. But in the current world that we have now, a lot of guys don't really appreciate the benefits of the single life because there are so many options available now. If you want company, go get company. But having the ability to have peace and quiet in your life is a tremendous advantage today, because when we see the alternative to that, and remember, these are forms of adaptation. Most men would prefer to be in more normal, traditional type settings, traditional relationships. But that's your daddy's world. That's your daddy's world. Now, if you're in a unicorn situation, congratulations, you've hit the lottery. But that world is, behind us now. Adapt. Because it ain't going to change. It's not going to change. So that's my message really about that. And that's why a lot of guys are being logical and being smart. It's not that there's a whole bunch of guys that just sitting around just being a bunch of damn losers. It's just that they're faced with an impossible situation. If they try to implement any of the traditional relationship strategies of the past, they're pretty much taking an L. In the current world that we're living in now, with all the distractions out here, it's complicated, very complicated. And why make life complicated when you can just enjoy your life and appreciate the luxury that comes with being single and becomes with being free, the incredible freedom that there is. Now I'm about to get off this live stream and hit the gym. My day is scheduled around things that I want to do in terms of benefiting myself, those that I want to help, the freedom. I have no distraction. There's nobody henpecking me or in my ears. My monthly budget is centered around what I like to spend money on and what I like to do. If I choose to spend time with a woman, I spend time with a woman. If I don't not want to spend time with a woman, I don't spend time with a woman. If I'm spending time with a woman, and there's a why you always happy all the time, a peaceful life, because if I spend time with a woman and she wants to be annoying, I will tell her have a wonderful day. I will return back to my domicile or my sanctuary where I enjoy this whole place here of peace, quiet, and freedom. So my company with women is optional. My resources and what I spend on women is to my liking, to my choice. It is not something that I'm required by law to do, like in a marriage or whatever, or I don't have anybody cohabitating with me. So I'm not concerned about those things, which gives me an incredible amounts of peace in the current world that we're living in right now. Freedom gives you peace. Obviously, you're gonna follow a certain rules and certain guidelines and treat people with respect and decency. But the idea of traditional um, relationships in this modern world with all these distractions is a challenge. I'm not anti-marriage, anti-relationship. I've been married. I've had adult kids. So, but I understand the realities of things today. And one of the things that a y'all young men got to understand is the game that they're getting from older men. Me, I'm 50 years old. I'm retired already. But the game they're getting from older men and understanding the way the world really works, the way the world really works, the current world and how it really works. It is what it is. You adapt and you play the game, to play the cards the way things are. When you get it, your hand, you kind of play it to the best of your ability, and you manage it a certain way, and you make smart, logical decisions. So I am, and one of the reasons why even sometimes a lot of people, a lot of conservatives don't like people like me on the internet because I give men the real deal, you know, and I don't make excuses for you. If somebody is a loser, I'm gonna call them out for being a loser. If I'm not gonna sell you a dream and you go out here and do some shit and get cooked, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna tell you that you can be just sitting around in some basement all day long, ain't doing nothing with your life and expect a good outcome out of life. No, until you get up, you know, do the things you have to do to make yourself the best man possible for you. Unlike these other content creators, they want you to do all these things so you can get women. You know, look, man, that's why I don't sit around here on this channel. I can easily create a podcast where I'm sitting around talking to these women, arguing back and forth with these women. You know, why would I do that? Why you don't see me, you know, I spend time with women. You don't see me post any women on this channel because I deal with the virus. The virus is men's self-esteem, men's self-awareness, men's self-mastery. If you have low self-esteem and you don't like yourself, or you're not taking care of yourself, don't even bother talk to me about women. If you have low self-esteem, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of your health, you're not prioritizing your purpose, and you talk to me about women, and I look at you, I'd be like, yo, man, yo, you got some work to do, man. I'm not going to talk to you about no women. Why would a woman like you? You don't even like yourself. You don't even take care of yourself. You don't even like yourself. What are you talking to me about women for? Get a life. Don't talk to me about women if you're a bum. Don't talk to me about women if you're a loser. Don't talk to me about women if you're not taking care of your health. The wrong guy to talk up to me about women. Because I'm gonna say to you right now that what is your life without women? Why ain't you winning in life without women? And that's what I'm gonna talk to you about. If you ask me about women, you know what I mean? Why ain't you winning in life without women? Why aren't you going to the gym taking care of your health why aren't you eating right without women? Why aren't you doing positive things for your life? You know, why don't you do things for yourself? You know, that has nothing to do with women. When you travel overseas, why can't you just go over there and enjoy the hell out of that country? Enjoy the women too. but enjoyed the benefits of. I spent 4 months living in the north of northern Thailand. I had a damn good time. You didn't see me make any videos about Thai women and dating and relationships. Man, I don't give a rat's ass about what women like me or don't like me. I care about performance. If the women are behaving and acting in a way that puts a smile on my face, I have a smiles meter. I measure women by smiles. If they put in the smiles on my face, a peaceful life is present. You start delivering pain to me, I'm MIA. Put me on a milk carton. You ain't gonna find me. I've simplified this life. I have a smiles meter in the back of my brain. You start creating frowns, I am out. This ain't that complicated. It really ain't that complicated. I think a lot of dudes make it that complicated because we're holding on to the past. We keep holding on to the past, and all these damn goofy content creators selling you that nonsense pickup game and goofy shit, trying to buy my course for $29.99 a month. I'll teach you game. Man, real game is your own self-improvement, self-esteem, self-worth. And if you don't have that, I always recommend my man, the coach of cognition, masculine male therapist. He dig into you. Get that self-esteem up. Get you doing the self-improvement things. And that's the problem with even with the culture. A lot of people, a lot of people have messed the game up and measure men. I wish it was like the Gauntlet. You ever see that beginning of the movie 300? I know it's a fiction or whatever, where the young men was set out in the middle of the wilderness and he had to kill the wolf. He was out there and his manhood was created separate from women, where men have to prove their worth on the battlefield, separate from women. And then you had to become a man. But again, when we get into this simp culture and whatever it is, where every manhood is measured by women. That's why I don't put no women on this channel. That's some goofy shit. You do, well, I got all these women. Look at me. Looks maxing. Some guy sticking his head in a bowl of damn ice water all day long, spending all day in the mirror. All this shit is simping for women. At the end of the day, the idea of women if women really truly respect and honor masculinity and manhood. So we've created this world, just like that toxic feminism, that toxic positivity movement. We've created another environment of telling men lies, goofy shit. Like you have to be like these guys will become like women. You ever seen these guys? Tight shirts, chests out, walking around all day long, peacocking for women. And the truth of the matter is, if you're a man and you spend more time in the mirror than a woman, you've basically transitioned into a woman. And most women will dry up. You see what they did to the guy, Trill the Trainer? When that dude pissed those women off, feminists off, when he said something they didn't like, when he expected that one chick to spend money on him or do something for him, man, they start calling him zesty, sassy. Wait, where is it at? Trill the Trainer. Remember when they turned on that dude? Do I even have a picture of that shit? Remember when they flipped on this dude, right? Remember when he's living his life pandering to women and shit, telling them all that zesty stuff, sitting around pissing on his knees. Dude was making all these videos. They got a lot of views. He was on his knees pissing and shit, putting all this stuff on his face and whatever extract he's using. Not that I'm not about self-care, but these dudes are just over feminized stuff. And the women, they appreciated what he was saying to them when he was pandering to what they want to hear about men, tell them what they need to be doing. As soon as that dude said something that offended those women, they started calling him all kinds of, they start calling him all kinds of zesty. Look at it. Look, what the hell is that, man? If dudes think they got to do something like that to get women, you've lost the game. But that's what these dudes out here selling. They're selling that bullshit. They're selling that nonsense. Because they understand that these boys, a lot of these young men don't have strong fathers in their life to really talk to them and teach them about traditional manhood masculinity. So a lot of these game coaches and these pickup dudes, they exploit that in men. But they don't understand that zestiness is only going to get you laughed at by women. Women think you're a clown because you're spending more time in the mirror than them. You're better off letting a woman see you pull an engine out of a car or doing something productive with your life, as opposed to sitting around fondling yourself in a mirror, trying to get women to like you, or you walking around with all kinds of it. Women look at you and say, you're trying too hard, baby. You're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. I'm not talking about a man being squared away. And you'll be squared away for you. You square yourself away for you as a man, your own self-respect and your own pride and your own decency. If women like it, great. But you're supposed to be a squared away dude. When you go in health and you go work out and you want to be fit, because of life quality and preserving your life as a man. You know what I mean? You want to be preserving your life as a man. When you go work out at the gym and you get in shape, it's because you want to be able to walk up some stairs without feeling like you're going to die. Look down and see your Johnson and take a piss. Sit down without the belt pressing into your belly, hurting your belly and shit. You want to have good numbers. You want to have good cholesterol numbers, good A1C numbers. You want your shit to be squared away. You want to feel good and have confidence and self-esteem about yourself as a man. Miss me with that woman bullshit. Unless it's a side effect, or if women like it, great. But you want to do that shit for yourself, regardless of women. Because what happens when you don't have women? You sitting around, you don't like yourself? Well, so you don't have a woman in your life is miserable and you're lonely. Why don't you enjoy your own company? Why don't you like yourself? You see, so I'm the wrong guy to talk to about women. I was like, well, why don't you enjoy yourself, brother? Why you have to always have a woman around to enjoy yourself? There's no woman around right now. I'm talking to you, brothers, and having a good time. So this idea that all these dudes are talking about how to spit game to women, how to spit. Man, I don't do any of that shit. I walk around, I talk to women. All day long, I talk to women. If a woman is not showing any sign of that she's interested in me at all as a man, what the hell am I wasting my damn energy spitting game to her for? I got other stuff to do. The market's open at 9:30. I need to figure out what I'm going to buy today. I got no time to be sitting around spitting no game for no women. I got shit to do. That's for a bunch of loser bum-ass dudes that don't have things to do with their day. You're sitting around spitting game to women all day long that's hooked on delusion and have these artificial idea of what a man is or what a man's supposed to be and whatever. You're wasting your damn time. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your damn time. But that's what these dudes are teaching guys. Oh, the problem is your game ain't tight enough. Yeah, right. You as a man, it's man versus delusion. It's man versus crazy. That's the gender warfare. Men today are battling insanity. You're trying to communicate with a creature that lives in the metaverse, that lives on a different planet. That person lives in outer space. You're talking to a human being that lives in a virtual world that has this thing in their face all day long, telling them how wonderful they are, what they deserve. And you're going to walk up to this human being who's not giving you any eye contact, that's not giving you any positive interaction as to showing any interest in you. You're going to walk up to this person that lives with this thing in their face all day long, and then are not giving you any choosing signals, any hint, any interest, whatever. And you're going to try and talk them in to liking you, when in their brain, they already have an image of what they like and what they value. And you ain't it. If you were it, she would be looking at you. And even the old school players and pimps who tell like the women who like you. If she not looking at you, talking to you, or trying to interact with you in any type of positive manner, I'm not talking about you out in the social environment, being social, doing things, whatever. If you're not getting any type of positive feedback from the woman in front of you, why the hell are you bothering her? You're wasting your damn time. You're just not her cup of tea. It ain't hard to tell when women like you or not. You just, so why waste your time with that type of nonsense? And like I said, that's just my opinion. You say, our time should be devoted to self-growth, benefit, and quality outcomes. Salute to you, my brother. You're absolutely right. And now, especially for the young bucks, if you have a 5-year perspective, if you have a 5-year plan, and you're a young buck right now, I would be backing up the truck and I'd be loading up on these index funds, total stock market index funds. Vanguard sells it, Charles Schwab sends it. If I'm a young bucks right now, I would be backing up the truck, loading up on these investments right now while the market is finicky like that. You have a 5-year perspective. Instead of worried about chasing some chicken heads, peacocking for women, wasting valuable time and energy chasing behind these women who are hooked on that crack cocaine called social media and that are delusional about their men and what their options are as men. I'd be out here trying to get some leverage, get some money. Man, I'd be working 16-hour days if I was young. In my 20s, 18 to 30, if I was a young man, 18 to 30 right now, buy. I'm a buyer. I'm backing up the truck. I am buying. I'm getting me a Charles Schwab account. I'm getting me whatever account I'm getting. I'm not advertising for anybody. I'm working double overtime. I'm doing whatever I got to do between the gym and double overtime. I ain't worried about these damn women. Send me on my day off on Sunday or something. I'll see them on Sunday when I'm off. But 6 days a week, I'm grinding. I'm trying to level up. Man, them women ain't going nowhere. You young bucks too worried about these women. This is the best time ever with this economic reset to position yourself in this world instead of sitting around here worrying about some damn chicken heads and getting some box. Damn that box. Try and get paid, man. You try and get paid at this point when you're a young man. Them women ain't going nowhere. You overvalue box. Box is not hard to get. But shoot, they sell it everywhere. No, they say that. Never mind. Because we're dealing with a monetized dating market. It's straight up prostitution out here. I mean, let's call it what it is, brothers. I mean, come on. We can pretend all we want. The modern dating scene out here right now is prostitution. It's global. It's global. It's global. All they talk about is money. Money, 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 money. What men need to be, what men need to be making. Men ain't making enough money, money, money. Nothing about character, nothing about anything of any substance. That's all they talk about all day long. So unless you want to be a walking ATM or some type of altruist, self-sacrificing simp so that women can just propel themselves off your back and live this one glorious life, and all you get rewarded with is some used box, you're crazy, man. Because That's all it is. I mean, look at this concept. And I always tell them right now, this is the concept you have to deal with as well. You know, right here. That's where we at right now. Is that what you want to do for your life, with your life as a young man? You know, and I try to tell the young man, is this your reward at the end of the rainbow? You're crazy. What exactly are you missing? And I ask the young men like that, like, look, instead of out here making that money, doing the things that you need to be doing for yourself as a young man, why are you out here chasing all that high mileage box? You could be working some overtime. You could be working some overtime, getting that money deposited in your account. And when the market, when you see that red dip, when Trump says something crazy, and you see that red dip in the market, and you know you got a good, solid investment that you can buy it. Because you out here chasing these chicken heads, all you're gonna be doing is spending money, taking part in simp culture, peacocking for chicken heads, going to clubs, trying to sit in VIP, buying drinks, running around, trying to buy these expensive cars with these Hellcats and all these other crazy crap that keep people poor. That's all you're gonna be doing, is making yourself poorer, chasing behind these chicken heads today. You know? And then after you're done, what happens? That money's gone, and you haven't bought anything that's going to bring you any type of wealth over the long period of time. So that's really what it comes down to. So again, young men, unfortunately, it's a whole different game out here today. But anyhow, I wanted to make this stream quickly because I think what happens too is a lot of single guys, because they don't really have a lot of hobbies going on and they're not really devoting their time to a lot of self-development, they think that they're missing something. But then the married guy is looking at the single guy and like, yo, man, you have no idea the type of torture that I'm going through. Married guys look at single guys. I used to be a married guy. They look at these single guys just running around here free with no kids and just living life on their own terms. God damn it, you lucky bastard. They think that because you have this wife or woman and home and all these expenses and 4 cars out front, they think that married guy is living a better life. And that's the could be furthest from the truth. That married guy envies your freedom. But then the single guy's like, whoa, what could it be? Because he's dreaming of a mindset that's traditional. He's traditional in his mindset. And he's thinking of an experience. Obviously, marriage is work. It's work. It takes work. Relationships are work. I support marriage and relationships. Don't get me wrong. But in the modern times, it's a tremendous amount of responsibility. It's very one-sided today. I mean, you look at the Obamas. You see Barack Obama out here rolling Michelle Obama under the bus. You see Michelle Obama going around talking about her marriage to these women on these podcasts about her own, issues within the marriage. But you don't see Barack out here running his mouth. He respects the sanctity of marriage, keeps his business in the house. But because we live in a gynocracy, that's acceptable. And no one's going to say, hey, look, maybe you should discuss this at home. That's the modern day marriage in America, where the court of public opinions is in your house, where women take their problems to the sisterhood, where social media is always a distraction in that house, where it's completely one-sided in terms of what the man is not doing for her. Boredom is easy because there's so many distractions, and it becomes what a man is not doing for her show. And It's 100% one-sided. You even listen to the dating and relationship advice today. Nobody is talking about what men need. It's all about what men need to be better for women. Men need to be doing this for women. Men need to be better for women. Men are a bunch of losers and incels. Nothing about what women should be doing for men or what men want, what men's desires are. Because if you try to talk about what men's want, what men's desires are, you're going to have women going to spin it back to, well, there's women that have done all these things for men and the man still cheated. It always turns back to the color purple narrative because there's no conversation that's allowed when it comes to discussing what is good for men. No one's trying to hear what's good for men in marriages, what's good for men in households, what men need, how to better take care of your husband, how to better take care of your man, how to make your man feel appreciated. You have a conversation like that, it's like, whoa, it's like a disruptive conversation to the system because it's a gynocentric environment. They don't care what men want or what men need. It's what, first of all, men ain't doing all the spending. So why would they have that conversation? It's all about women, what women want, what women need, what women makes happy. What Michelle Obama said, I'm focusing on me. So we're a creature that focuses already selfish by many aspects of nature. The creature is already selfish. And now the creatures are being encouraged to be more selfish. So now you have the system telling that creature that it needs to be more selfish, and it's already selfish by nature, self-preservation, survival by nature. And now they're telling that person to be more selfish. So what about you? Now you're just a pawn. Now you're just a pawn in that game because you're not getting anything from this relationship. Your life becomes that only as a sacrificial animal. And it's not until you're really single that you realize how much of a sacrificial animal you were. Because now you get to focus on yourself. And you say to yourself, wow, yeah, you get more money every month. And you sit down and eat and you pay for one person. You're like, oh, wow. You start finding money places. Like, oh, man. You look at your account and be like, oh, well, there's more money in my account than I thought there was. Then you start seeing like, whoa, this shit is easier. And then you get up every day and you get to do the things you want to do, how you want to do them, when you want to do them, the way you want to do them. And there's nobody in your ears. And you start saying to yourself, hold on here. Especially financially. Whew. Financially, you really enjoy life. You really enjoy life. And you realize, like, hold on. And you don't realize it. A lot of married men realize it when they divorce. Maybe they go through that phase where they got hit. It takes about, depends on the situation, 5 years, maybe 10 years to get over it. But once they get their stride again, they realize, like, holy smoke, where did all this money come from? Because they don't have a woman in their life. But they still have all the knowledge and the skills of past relationships and marriages. So they know they're not missing anything. And they know how to enjoy their happiness alone and be, happy with themselves and enjoy life because they have experienced what it's like to be in long-term relationships or marriages. So they understand the sacrifice that comes with that. So when the guy gets single, he understands everything. He really appreciates it. And once you understand, once you've been married and you got free and you're not like a simp or whatever else, and you're not like a dude that doesn't develop himself and put effort into himself, man, it's really hard to go back. I'm being honest with you. You can get spoiled being single. It's very hard to go back because you know the responsibility that's involved and the amount of sacrifice you have to make to have a woman in the house with you or whatever else. You have to sacrifice a lot of yourself. And that's what we don't tell people in marriages. the compromise is overwhelmingly heavily in favor of the woman in terms of what a man has to sacrifice to be in a marriage or a long-term relationship with a woman. It is in not even just a financially expensive expenditure. It's a emotionally and psychologically, you have to give a lot in terms of what you're willing to compromise in terms of the society that we're in and the expectations of men. So life no longer, whatever you have is what you value as a man is not prioritized. It is not being prioritized. Your priorities come last. With that being said, I'm out of here. I just want to do this quick live stream. I'm about to hit the gym, hit the treadmill, get my workout done. Markets at 9:30, gentlemen. I want you guys, make sure you do something nice for yourself today. I always say nobody takes care of you like you. Do something nice for yourself. Maybe go into the store. You want that pair of shoes that you wanted? If you have the money for it, buy it. Enjoy your life, man. Do something nice for yourself. Even the married dudes. Do something nice for yourself today. That doesn't involve your kids, your women, or anybody else. Do something nice for yourself today. You deserve it. You work hard every day. You pay bills. You take care of stuff. You sacrifice your life. You donate your time, your energy, your effort to everybody else. Do something nice for yourself because nobody's going to take care of you like you, unfortunately. And most people around you are damn selfish. So do something nice for yourself. I'm out. Peace and blessing, man. John Smith, salute to you, brothers. XL Pro Larry, brother Ren, always positive to see you, man. I'm out. He said, yep.